Okay, folks, it's 7 bells. I'm going to start this meeting. This is the committee of the whole meeting for Tuesday, September 9th, 7 p.m. Call that to order. For anyone who is attendance online or here, I guess we all know this, but in case there was gallery and people joining online, our meetings are recorded for public viewing and placed on a public website. And also we will acknowledge that we are on the unceded First Nations land of Ehasisat Chinnikit territory. Motion to approve the agenda. Additions, deletions. Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? That's carried unanimously.
Most to adopt the minutes of the April 8th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting.
There you
Errors or omissions or any questions that anybody wanted to ask about that? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously again.
Most to adopt the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting.
Take that.
Questions, errors, omissions? Seeing any there either. So again, I'll call the question. All in favor? Aye. And any opposed? That again is carried. So now we're on to business arising from minutes. We have a staff report in front of us about the Parks and Trails Master Plan. This has been provided to us in good time, and so are there any questions that anybody had from CAO or through to staff about this, unless there's anything that you wanted to provide that's happened since production?
Just for council's review, there are two examples sitting on the table, just by Councillor Lewis, of what a park plan could look like.
I came in and had a look when we were talking to Island Health. Thanks for that. Thanks for supplying it.
So,
So Larry Denise.
new plan? That what you're telling me? I'm excited about this, you know, like, I'm excited to move forward on this because I think the trajectory of Zeballos is towards visitors to our town. You know, it was a busy summer, and I think that's going to keep improving consistently. And for us to try to stay ahead of it and keep things a certain way is very smart. So we can look good and continue to move forward with some tourism, because that's looks like that's going to be the direction for us to help our economy, maybe get some jobs started in Zeballos. And so I'm behind this, definitely.
Any questions to staff on anything contained in the report? I know that this has been part of our strategic priority kind of push for this council's reign here, and so I'm happy to see this come forward. Council didn't have any questions. I just have two. Does doing this plan prohibit any of the projects moving forward in our next report on this agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. No, in fact, I believe the next report is specifically requesting further direction on stuff that we can do immediately. This Parks and Trails Master Plan will help us through upcoming councils and throughout the years.
Perfect, thank you for that. And then, key issues identified, the second kind of bullet there, that staff has consulted Maquinna, who have an estimate of 15 to 20,000 on developing a plan subject to land survey requirements. So is that, does that mean like surveying the limits of our property boundaries? Is that what that includes?
Yes,
Will that be a large portion of it? How much would that be? I believe it's, just give me a kind of a roundabout for an average parcel.
it would likely come in a lot cheaper than what an average parcel would be. Right now, if you were to do one parcel, you're looking at, and just without a project in mind, around $5,000.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Yeah, and if we can find a grant for doing this, that would be fantastic. I like the direction that the report's going in for sure.
Recommend the staff be directed to research available grant funding sources to provide council with recommendations at a upcoming council meeting.
Second that?
And when you do that, would you include you know, approximate, because this whole kind of agenda is all interwoven together. So in the next report, there's a itemized list of, you know, available space, of space that we have, space that's, you know, kind of our parks inventory. And so which one of those we would, ones of those has $15,000 to $20,000, and then surveying even 5,000 per property, that just didn't match up with me. So which ones we would need to consider having a survey on? If you could provide that with us with the next iteration of this, that would be fantastic.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't believe we'll be able to, because our consultant would be looking for direction from council
Okay.
on which properties council wants to focus on. Unless that comes out of this meeting, in which case I can then move forward and say these would be the properties that we want to focus on. These ones we're satisfied we know where the property boundaries are, say like the ball field, and however, there are some of these that may need some delineation.
So the 15 to 20,000 would just be then for the plan, essentially.
That's correct.
Okay, sorry, I had thought that it said because it was bearing which surveys would be needed, that would be included in this. So sorry, my misinterpretation.
Oh, there may be. It's very, which is why it's such a huge variance between 15 and 20.
Perfect.
And like I say, 5,000 per property if that's a one-off. If you've got surveyors coming out to do 2 or 3 properties,
Of course.
it could be 5,000 for all 3 or 4.
Perfect. Amazing. Thanks so much. Any other questions on the motion, which is the recommendation that's contained within the report? Search available grant funding and provide recommendations. Seeing that, all in favor?
Okay.
Any opposed? That is carried. Thanks for bringing that. And then the next report we have is parks funding priorities. There's a number of properties and inventories and maps and information in this report. So what questions have we for staff on this? Unless, of course, there is anything that was added after production. Okay, just making sure. What questions do we have for staff?
Not so much for staff as for council, the skate park basketball court. Possibility of moving the skate park. Instead of repaving.
Okay, what questions do you have about that? Is that something that you wanted to put forward, or is?
Well, instead of repaving the skate park,
Mhm.
because is it, my understanding is not usable now?
Sorry,
My understanding of the skate park's not usable right now?
the location of the skate park center now, yeah, like the asphalt would need resurfacing. I would say it's not ideal for skateboarding on or rollerblading or any of those things. The location of it is kind of subpar, just in the trees. I know we cleaned it, with getting the hemlock needles off there, and then it seems like the next day they're something having a little bit of wind and yeah.
And that is a decision of this council. If we want to move that skateboard park, we can. Absolutely, that was within our purview. And I do know that there will be some other works probably possibly happening on those that I'm assuming would make it a little more visible. With the advent of the sewer expansion. I had seen in maps there that there may be some need to maybe thin or clear some of that, so. These are all things that are happening simultaneously, right? So, yeah,
It's just a thought.
yeah, we know that that is, yeah, some back there. For sure.
Well, I'm pretty sure that this basketball court won't be missed. Because the ones at the school are way nicer to play at. There's outdoor and indoor. So I would definitely support the move of that. You know, I think it would, is this surface of this court acceptable for that? Yeah, so. And I think that's something we could accomplish in-house, I mean, pretty much. Right, so it would be, you know, it would be smart to do that. I think it would be get used more. And then we'd free up that land. There's a lot of things we could use it for. Maybe some housing, maybe get some properties, some lots built in there, and I mean, we have to probably look at that last bit of space for expansion for Zeballos if we want to have somewhere for people to build more homes, right? Be nice to have some service lots available for sale that people can start building them. So I like that idea. So Lewis.
Bird whispered in my ear.
As someone who lives across from here, though, this is quite well used. It's used really often in the
Is it?
community, yeah. So it's just from the hearing of the balls over there. And not so much during the winter months, of course, but especially through the summer.
Mhm.
But I do know that this, yes, is more accessible, and the points that you make absolutely about maybe doing something else over there. I do have concerns with what may go on in front and whether that would prohibit something from being back there. If that was a part of the sewer expansion project, then we wouldn't be able to build a road base or anything on it. So I'd have to kind of see that information first. Because it would be land that you couldn't drive on. That was my understanding. So, yeah, through to maybe staff to kind of clarify that from.
Thank you. Over where the existing skate park is, shouldn't be affected by the sewer
Okay,
upgrade. It was just immediately adjacent to the ball field.
okay,
Is where there's gonna be some pipes going a little bit beyond where that existing fence line is. Just
perfect,
given by the sign, and that's where we had concerns about the constant vehicle traffic.
amazing. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah. And that, of course, would have to be something that was like an engineer team would come in and talk about, you know, the surface here versus the surface there, and the usability or what upgrades would have to be done, if any, over here.
I don't think so.
No, that'd be something that we could do in-house. Perfect. Right.
The one thing that I would recommend though is I'm not sure how old the equipment is, but just for liability's sake, we should get it inspected for integrity, if there's any damages.
I just got an email from the company that we had purchased it from, which I'm not sure how long ago it was, but I think we still have another 8 years of warranty on the equipment.
Yeah, so we should, get it inspected.
I believe it was 12 or 14 is on the sign. The dedication.
Was purchased,
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's after 10.
yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
So, 14.
Yeah, so it will be on the sign. Yeah, as well as the receipts, of course. And if the company said that we've got warranty on it, that's great.
Awesome.
Councilor Lewis?
You don't think it would be too noisy for the office?
Oh, I don't think so.
Still check.
And what about like residents that live around here as well?
I think it's gonna be the same no matter where you have a playground or a park or any sort of, recreation area. It's always going to include a little more noise than what the residents are used to.
Mhm. Yeah, that was kind of the perfect thing of having it over there, is it wasn't really, there was no, there's not a whole lot of residential over there to be worried about the noise. I mean, but seriously, people are over here using that, if it's basketball bouncing is not as, it's as
Not much different.
relatively as invasive, right? So, yeah. Yeah. I'm curious about the space, if we have enough space to for all the implements to actually get a good run on that, because I know that the land over there is the surface is quite large, so there's lots of different implements spaced out in a lot of different ways, and so maybe the people who sold us the equipment have I know that was put in with a plan of where those pieces should go. And so if there needs to be a certain length between each of the implements or the I don't know what they're called, devices, whatever, obstacles, yeah, right? So that might be something to look into to get us some more information on.
I think it would fit.
Yeah.
I think it would just be a matter of making it fit for the place. I mean, I've done a lot of skateboarding and you'll just use it how it is. Yeah, I don't think there's a big concern with that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a ton there. There's a couple of ramps and a pipe, right? Is that it? The three? Really?
The two half pipe kind of things.
Yeah.
And there's metal triangular piece with,
Got you over, yeah,
with rail on it, and then there's one box.
on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely fit in that area, so. I mean, and I think an important part is there's another place to play basketball, right? I mean, it's not, we're gonna take away something the community we could or would use, right?
Councilor Lewis?
I'm just curious if the measurements could be sent to the skateboard place, and then they could have suggestions as for the spacing or how to lay it out.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I think it's pretty basic.
So we don't have any motions on the table necessarily. I know that staff has kind of heard, some concerns and some, will to, possibly move forward with it. Do you need, as this is just a committee of the whole, will you bring those out? Do you want a staff action to ask these specific questions? How would you like to do
Yeah,
that?
we would prefer a recommendation to council.
Okay.
On specifically, whether it is a consideration to do it and prior to making that final decision, what is the information you would need?
Okay. All right, so what have we talked about? We've talked about space and layout. Would that maybe cover anything that we needed to find out? So maybe surface as well, just to ensure that I know, we're sitting here saying, oh, that seems like a great idea, but it seemed like a great idea to put it over there as well. So just to ensure that we're doing things properly and with as much information as we can get. Okay, so then the resolution would be something like that staff provide more information on the relocation. Possible relocation of the skate park to the basketball court, including space, layout, and surface information.
Second that.
Yeah, does that sound like what we
Keep it repaving.
Well, and maybe that's a consideration too. On what the cost would be to just repave up there. I'd like to have a report in hand though before we make any, final decisions for sure. Yeah.
Great.
That, yeah, got that. Thank you so much. So that was, you seconded that, Councilor Lewis?
I did.
Okay, other questions or anything we want added to that? Seeing nothing, all in favor? Any opposed? So that is carried. Perfect. What else? We've got a lot of kind of options in here and some priority areas.
Did you want to go through these one at a time, or did?
Through the entire info, like the
Yeah.
I don't think it, well, I mean, if you'd like to, for sure.
Oh,
I'd like to move through the report though, so the implications, so the priority, kind of the estuary trail, the Cenotaph, the Little Zeballos Bridge, the foreshore and the skate park.
mhm.
That way I think would make us, and because these will all be included in an inventory and it's quite an extensive list, right?
Yeah.
So, I think maybe that will come out of the parks plan, if I'm not mistaken, staff, as some possible, further works. But these were the ones that we had indicated that were kind of priority areas. So if that's okay, we'll just work off for now.
Okay,
Yeah, does that sound reasonable?
I just noticed we kind of started.
At the bottom? And
Yeah.
that's okay. That's
So,
okay.
I was gonna hop up to another one, but I.
Councilor Copeland, yeah, I see your hand there.
Yeah, I was chasing flies, but I also am curious about the priorities that were in place on the estuary. Is there any chance we could speak on that for a bit?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And we can just go through them as sequence if we want. I just was wondering if it was just to get the conversation started that, and I thank you for that conversation on that one, because hopefully something will come out of that with the report. So the estuary trail, there's been a lot of work on that, and thanks to Public Works and our various volunteer efforts from the community and things like that. So replacing the rotten boardwalk with yellow cedar or composite, I think, I don't know if that is from staff's point of view, is that a dollar consideration, or is that more of a preference consideration that you're looking at us for?
I think, and I'll speak on behalf of all of the staff, what we're looking for is direction from council to what extent are we redeveloping that trail? I mean, right now, as it sits with absolutely no work, it's passable as a trail.
Mhm.
We don't need to close it down. It's, we can put on a pair of hiking shoes and you can get out to the end. So it's the direction from council we're looking for is, do we want the entire thing boardwalk? Do we want just some of the rocker sections boardwalk? I just put yellow cedar and composite just simply because these are the options that we're currently looking at.
Okay.
We don't really have a preference at this point, unless you finish getting prices back.
I have got some prices on both thing, and these are rough estimates on stuff, but yellow cedar to replace what boardwalks are in that estuary, like as is, same size, same height kind of deal, but to redo them in yellow cedar is roughly in the ballpark of about $8,000. And I got some prices back today about some composite stuff to do the same thing as is and just replace them with composite. You're looking at on the low end about $88 per square foot to 95, so that comes in at about $50,000 for composite.
Ooh.
And that is not installation either. That would be us installing the stuff too.
Just product.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite this price, right? Yeah. It's just so interesting to me though, that because everything goes back to the earth so quickly here, and that's kind of why, we're trying to use different materials to, I mean, Even like a metal grating type system that we could, I don't, you know,
And that's kind of what the composite is. It comes in like basically a galvanized frame. With some kind of footings into it, and then basically get the choice of what you want to deck it with. So you could deck it with wood or like grating, that composite deck material that you see. So there's kind of different options on that stuff, but
Mhm.
still quite pricey just to even get the galvanized frames. My idea was going through yellow cedar, I believe, is kind of a top end of things that are gonna last out there, and yeah. For as far as wood goes.
But even then, the lifespan on that, sorry, I'm taking over the code. Yeah.
So you know that through the Hudson there, do you know the difference between how long the composite compared to the yellow cedar could potentially last? It's like forever or not.
I think that, yeah, composite is forever.
And
But is forever with metal when you have all that seawater influence. I don't. You get those trails are flooded at least twice a year, right?
so do you think we need to do these boardwalks?
Yeah, I think they're deteriorating fast and just getting worse as is, and the ones that are on there, frames are rotten, boards are getting broken, and they're just getting worse and worse for sure.
So if we took the boardwalks away, would it be usable at all? Or is it like, can it be constructed without them? Is something changed? Like the amount of water or something? That's what I'm getting at.
I think that's another option too, which I haven't quite figured out price on that is. You could take all the boardwalks out there and maybe bring in material, like as in crush or rock and stuff like that. I think it then just limits the times that you can use it when there is maybe water coming in there and there is the king tides and stuff like that, but
You're gonna get wet feet.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a really good alternative myself, is to get away from them. Like, I've never seen it that wide in there.
winter.
Yeah, except in the off season, right?
Yeah.
So that's another possibility. And then I'd like to talk about the entrance, which is on our park space over here. So I think we should give the go ahead to complete the entrance in the park space, prove that in a way that that it doesn't have things stored on it, and that there's an obvious place that it is an entrance to the trail. And I think we should go ahead with the yellow cedar and move forward, because I think that us as a council, we need to apply some of these initiatives now, and I think we just need to make a choice and take some action, because it's been going on for a while. So I'd like to see this move forward. So I support doing the yellow theater, which I think will be a long-term plan. Like I'm thinking that'll be like a 40 or 50-year plan or something. And I'd like to support getting the entrance back together, make it obvious, some signage. Were you talking about some other signage that might go there? Something from, you guys remember it?
There's a tsunami,
No.
possible tsunami art installation. Yeah,
That's right.
we used to have a map there, which is really good for wayfinding and signage and things like that, which would be really good addition. But there were other things that were,
I think all those things combined, really enhance that area and make it something for us. Kind of tie right into everything.
I've got Councillor Copeland up next if you would.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Councillor Copeland?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Colburn. Yeah, the comments about proceeding with it are right down the alley that I'm looking at here. I think we have to finish something and give birth to it, whether it lasts 10 years or 12 years. We need to give birth to something before we decide how long it's going to live. The boardwalk with the signs, the yellow cedar, I'd like to see a motion put forward that we go ahead and complete this by the end of year if possible, if it fits in the public works schedule. We've got to move on with these trails and get some progress in them. Again, it's hard to bring people here to hike and do trails when there aren't any complete. And I think the estuary is the priority one.
Thank you for that. I'm thinking along the same lines as everyone here. I'm thinking that my comments were to be, take as much as that feasible boardwalk out as you can. That I know that there are places where you can't, it's just too mucky and too, even on the regular season. And of course, this year we had some tides that were like kind of even in the summer season that were like, ooh, okay, those are getting a little, so yeah, anything that we can take out, I would, yeah, definitely advise to. I would be in favor of advising to. And then filling it with some kind of crushed gravel, something that will not just float away in the big rains in the off season, in the king tides and the big weather. That's, I am hesitant about using wood again. But I mean, as long as I think that we have a pretty good maintenance initiative going through with our public works, that they are checking these things on a regular basis. And so including with our parks plan, a regular maintenance schedule for those things to happen year by year, instead of leaving them for so long when there wasn't a volunteer base to, you know, one person to put them in and protect them, right? So, I mean, if cedar is the way to go, then cedar is the way to go. It also uses, you know, our local industries and things like that. And I would really like council to consider, you know, having their pieces in there where there was interpretive signage about where to go, what not to harvest, where, how to do that. And I think that Indigenous knowledge piece would be a really cool initiative to have through the school. Involve the kids and also see if their parents and anything know, and if local people around here can contribute to what's in there, what's actually back in there, and what pieces are from what era, because I know there are some pieces from the mining area and some pieces from well, the iron mine era. Right, so there's two different kinds of things that are going on in there. Yeah, so those were my comments. The park with the map, the tsunami art in that 149 to 149, 149 to 147 Maquinna. That was some of my comments as well. So yeah, I think that if we can move forward on that and do a really good job of that trail, I think it would be an invaluable asset to the community. Right, for years to come. So as for how far we want to go, I think I'm in favor of going all the way, right, of actually doing some significant upgrades to that as dollars allow. And I think for the section between 149 and 147, we've talked about ICT money before, because it's downtown Zeballos. It might be a placemaking kind of grant or something like that. So I'd like staff to also, you know, investigate what kind of grants are out there for that thing. I know there's not a whole lot for trails, but for actual placemaking and interpretive kind of things, there is. So at least from what I've seen. Also, Charmaine Enns was here in the office and having conversations, and she said they are more than happy to have to let us know. So she's going to keep on the lookout for those kind of recreation grants, because she asked about strategic priorities. So having Island Health again out there searching for things for us, if we can get ICT and Island Health and, you know, recreation entities doing that work for us would be great. Taking some of the pressure off our staff here, so yeah. So motion looks like that council instructs staff to move forward on the estuary trail plans discussed during this meeting. That's really general.
Put it in their capable hands and let them run with it.
Yeah.
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 As budget allows.
as budget allows. There are some things that are already in that budget, so I think that's good. Spending some time and money on that, I think would be what we're all in favor for as far as I've heard. And then finding some grants. So was that too loose of a resolution for staff's liking?
A little bit. I'm working on one here.
Okay. I mean, we can itemize it out. You know, replace with yellow cedar and minimize boardwalk. Ensure the brush is maintained. $5 for interpretive and traditional. Enhance the entrance and make sure that there is a park map and tsunami art in the area between 149 and 147.
And I'll second that.
Really, if we just go through it point by point.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So that was seconded by Councilor Lewis. Anything else that anybody wanted to consider in that? The other entrance to that trail is magnificent and amazing. Thanks for all of Public Works' hard work on our campsite, because it's great, right? So that's not the entrance that we necessarily need to do any work on, but this side for sure. Okay,
Awesome.
all in favor?
I,
No opposed? So that's carried. Let's do cenotaph. And next, and this has been on our books for a very, very long time, so I think as fast as we can move on this one, the same.
I had a good idea.
Councilor
Thank you.
Denise.
What about putting a cenotaph on the old school property? Because I don't think it's ever gonna be used for anything else. And I think it would be an interesting spot to have a permanent cenotaph. Because it is in the Rockfall hazard area, it is crown land. I don't know what kind of authority we'd have to speak to be able to do it. But I mean, it's very national thing already, it's crown land. I mean, that was my brainstorm for you guys.
Can we put that through to staff first? You know, kind of what would be entailed in that. It is at our property, it's not village property, it's crown, and it is in our Rockfall. So for gathering purposes of doing something there, what's staff's perspective for
Thank you. It wouldn't be an immediate project that we could work on because we would need to get a license of occupation or a lease of that land, being crown land, even if it is a a federally or provincially recognized initiative. Much like with our Rockfall barrier fence, even though it originated on their property and it was to their benefit, we still needed to get a lease on that land. I can't see the province, allowing us to do anything without some sort of lease in place.
Mhm.
So that would really be the first step. Really, as far as a gathering place, we have to research that further. I haven't hesitate to give a response on that now.
I know a little bit of them. And from what I've determined, as a gathering place, I think it would be fine. Because it's really about, people occupying it, being static, and it being there constantly. But I think maybe with a place that would have gatherings, not very often, probably a couple times a year, I think it would maybe serve us. But I don't want to hold up. I support, I could probably support anywhere it would go. But I thought of that as like an interesting idea to use some space that's not being used, right? So.
Councilor Copeland.
yeah, I don't know, is Mr. Ante there tonight?
He is not with us this evening, no.
I spoke with him the other day and he pointed out an area that he would suggest, and it was between the village office and the community center. I just wanted to put that forward so that you know that he has spoken to me about that already. On the other hand, well, Barb had a good point as well, putting it up by the, this side of the Red Bridge. I think there's some sort of a relic there or something right on the corner by the Red Bridge.
The Rotary.
Yeah, and I appreciate that as well. My personal feelings is down at the park, down by the marina where the memorial is for the workers. Again, you probably want it close to that memorial as opposed to being on the other side of town. The thing about the memorial area is that it needs maintenance anyway for the workers' memorial. The sidewalk, pathway, seawall is going to go through there, which will beautify that little park. And then if we put the Remembrance Day cairn beside in its own little house with bushes and things, the same as the Workmen's Memorial, it would be right next door to it. There's pavement there for things like parades and things, and there's also public washrooms available there as well if we were to have ceremonies. And I think my own personal opinion is that if it was put down by the Workers' Memorial, it would enhance that whole area and provoke us into finishing that seawall, the walkway, as well as beautify that park area that it's beautiful now, but it could use a little touch up. So those are some of the areas that people have spoken to me about, and my opinion as well. The one thing I have been looking for is a source of marble or something that could be done locally, rock work, river work, rock work to build the memorial. Yeah, just for a supplier of like marble or something like that as well. But anyway, to stick to the areas of concern, those are the ones that I'd like to mention. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Councillor Copeland. I do want to bring to our attention now, just because you've provoked it in my mind and made me remember our previous mayor, Johnny Cox. There is a marble quarry in Gold River. I mean, that's not really local, but it's local-ish. So that was a consideration that we have had for a long time on this. And I would much rather see it down at the waterfront as well. I think that would almost be a twofer. It would almost do some waterfront beautification and kind of, get that, as Councillor Copeland said, there's parking, there's washrooms, there's all of that down there. So, yeah. The rotary wheel, the reason I don't like that is because of the riparian. And the trees are so tall in there, like you'd like for it to be a beautiful spot, but there's zero parking there. And if anybody were to, and we already can't see the river, and because of the grow up of the diking and the trees there. So that's, yeah. And I don't know about putting it on the other, I would love to be able to use that land somehow, right? It's right in the middle of the community, but I don't know that we would want to, I mean, not that it would be going against, because like you say, people aren't there for sustained periods of time or anything like that, but almost go against the rules of like not, of signing their own development permit. Right, which of course we could do, but my preference as well is down at the waterfront. So if we could decide on a place and move forward on it, this has been on this agenda on this council for as long as I have been here. 14 years. And we still don't have one. So if we could decide on a place, that would be great, and at least let staff know that we want to move forward, and that the as it says in the report, Veterans Affairs Canada does a half. They will split that with you up to $40,000. So it's not like there isn't money available already for it, at least partially. And I do believe that Veterans Affairs considers in kind part of the contribution from what I've read in the application. The intakes are twice a year, so it would be something that possibly could get. And also Mortimer's Monuments, which is a company down in Victoria, does dozens of these. They've done them all over the island, and they're professionals at it. So If we weren't sourcing local, if that was something that we couldn't do, then there's another option there as well. So. Councillor Lewis.
The marble place in Gold River, do they do any of the carvings and or just supply the marble?
I believe it's just a marble wholesale, but don't quote me on that. Like I said, this is quite a while ago. I've been up to the quarry, but I don't know the company that does it or anything like that. That would be a conversation that somebody could have with previous Mayor Cox or someone who knew about that, what that was like in the area. Possibly Madge Marshland even has taken that over. I don't know at this point. I just know the past information, so. Councillor Copeland.
Yeah, just to amplify on one point, if we got the marble, the etching wouldn't be required because of a brass plate or something would have all the information on it and be fastened to the marble.
Mhm.
I'd like to add something.
Yeah, please do.
I think that, Councilor Copeland, and I think everybody here, I think it makes most sense to put it by the bathrooms and in the area already developed and able to, accept it. And I think we should, carry this through also and put it in the hands of staff so we can move on it. And I think that we should decide if that's the right area. I agree with it. So if you guys agree, then I think we can decide the area.
Councillor, oh, sorry, Jude.
Location.
Councillor Copeland?
Yeah, and just one further point too, I think we need to involve or at least be advised by the ranger population that we have in Zeballos. They're quite significant.
By the what?
The
Yeah.
rangers, the military rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should involve them in this project as well, the best we can. They are a growing force within the village. I'm quite surprised and very impressed with them too. They've got a great presence there.
And what advice do you think we should get from them?
Well, I think stuff like funding, support, probably even location. But they should be a major. They should have a voice in this for sure.
As a war memorial and our because that's what a cenotaph is really is a war memorial. I'm also wondering if we might consider, and I know I don't want this to like muddy the waters or anything, but I'm also I know that we have had Indigenous members serve, and I'm wondering if there's just a letter that could go out for comment for those two organizations, maybe. I mean, that might be something that would be simple and easy and inclusive and take those things into account. I'm just putting that out there. It's through to you, staff. Yes.
Thank you. I do have a recommendation that might help move this forward.
Okay.
Is a direction to staff to put together a meeting with representatives from rangers, any interested First Nations. I would say Councillor Copeland, to sit together and sort of hone in on, X marks the spot at the foreshore, where we're going to source granite from, what's going to be on the plaque, sort of all of those details, because that's just not simply information that staff can come up with. I think would better serve us to have the interested folks actually meet in council chambers and provide that recommendation back to council.
Involve those community groups that are
Yeah.
concerns that are, yeah.
Yeah.
I would be absolutely in favor of that, for sure, that an invitation be sent out and that, these are things that we have considered and we are leaning towards and how does that fit in with, ease of access, with recognition, with the reverence that's an activity like that requires. Yeah. Okay, so then the motion is, would you tell us one more time so someone can move that? Or someone can say so moved and they can get it from the record. Move.
Can we include the fact that we want it in that location as a council. As a big step forward. I think if we can include that, and we can all agree on that, then that really can push this.
I think so, unless there are big mitigating factors that we
Right.
haven't considered that would make us consider otherwise, but I think, yeah, location has always been kind of the stumbling point, if we can just decide where, let's do
Yeah.
this.
I'm pretty
Right.
sure the Rangers would be fine with the location.
Mhm.
I think so too.
Mhm. I mean, but I mean, and during that meeting, you know, letting the parties know that this has been the stumbling block for so long. And these are the other possible things that we have considered in the community, including land that, you know, isn't even really usable land, like we just, you know. Yeah, we want to make it a publicly available space for people to go and gather and
Yeah.
honor.
I think that could actually be the basis of the meeting is we have chosen a spot for this. And we need to buy in some help from everybody to figure out the dynamics around it.
Yeah.
That's what I think could.
Councillor Nuss?
Yes, there's no chance for it to be done by the 11th, then.
When we're here at the cemetery, folks, when we're here at the cemetery. Yeah,
2029.
we're 2026, possibly. Well, with the grant intake, I think that there are certain parameters around that grant as well, and they do release the funds twice a year as far as had been history that I had read, so. If, I think probably if it goes in by a certain date, then might be something to check, and it might be a foretell, you know, how quick we want to gather the people, the stakeholders, right? That might be a consideration that you could say, you know, we'd like to gather you all on this date because of this reason, right? I don't know. Consideration, so. Okay, so what was that?
That staff organized a meeting between rangers, key elected officials, and First Nations with the concept to place a cenotaph at the foreshore park in Zeballos.
Perfect. And you would move that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Second from Councillor Copeland, I'll consider that.
All good.
Perfect. Anything else that we wanted to add to that? We've done it. We're good. All in favor?
Right.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Carried. Okay, so we've got 3 and 4. And also, I really do want to prioritize these for staff. So I think we've talked about the ones that are really key to people's hearts. So, or do we want to continue on this conversation and then prioritize it for staff? I like the 1 through 5, and I'd actually move 1, 2, and 5 as the keyer, and then the 3 to 4 down a little bit, because I think that foreshore will be tied into a cenotaph project, at least some of it, if we move ahead, when we move ahead with that cenotaph. So even to maybe do the move 5 up and then do 4 and 3. Do you know what I mean? I think it's important that we prioritize this for staff as well. So whatever the table would like, if you want to move through 3 and 4, or if you want to prioritize, that would help. What's your others?
Either way, it doesn't. Whichever one. we can do.
Okay, so let's do a priority list here. Whichever one that you feel is your highest priority, let staff know that, and we'll just go around the table. We'll do top 3 priorities for everyone, if that's okay, and hopefully find a way through that. Okay, Councillor Janice.
I would say Bill, skate park, something.
2. Okay, Councillor Lewis.
Yeah, trails, the cenotaph and skate park.
2 and 5. Councillor Copeland.
Agreed.
Well, we've got a discrepancy, so there's Councillor Janice would like the estuary trail, the skate park, and then the cenotaph. Counselor Lewis would like the estuary trail, the cenotaph, then the skate park. Which would you,
I would prefer the second one.
the cenotaph to take precedence over the skate park?
Yeah, with the estuary and the cenotaph. And yeah, I'm not too high on the skate park right now.
Okay.
I don't think there's enough use for it.
Okay. So the estuary, the cenotaph, and then is there another project on that list that you wanna kind of move on? So what essentially what I'm hearing here is that the cenotaph and the estuary are kind of getting the most traction anyways?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that valid to say in this room?
Yes.
CAO.
Thank you. Not to lead council too much, but just given our capacity
Mhm.
and other projects that we do currently have on the go, I think just looking at those two for 2025 is plenty for the staff.
Okay. I do know that there is these were priorities, and so I do appreciate that priorities. As I said, I'm hoping that some of those foreshore improvements come with that cenotaph kind of kick. And so that if there's any way of working those in with that project, I would see that as being a dual, aid kind of thing. I just wanted to put that out there because, and I know it will come with 501, but so for hearing what we've heard with staff, is that okay that they concentrate on those two things, the estuary and the skate park for now? And we put these further into work plans for maybe 2026?
Good.
Absolutely.
Okay. So do you want that in a resolution?
Yes, please. Makes it easier for us.
Okay. So what is that? That council directs staff to work on priorities 1 and 2 in the request for direction report dated the 7th of September.
Yep, that works.
7.
Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. So we've talked about, let's get all of these kind of out though, so we kind of get some direction to see where we want to go, because these will be included in a parks plan, correct? So let's still talk about these other 2 things and get them into some kind of a work plan. So the little Zeballos Trail Bridge. Obviously that's not a this year priority. How are we feeling about that? Or do you have questions to staff or, yeah, Councilor Lewis.
So what bridge in particular are you talking about?
For the Wells Zeballos would be the first, I call it floating bridge, but the bridge that you get on as soon as you get on past the post office and the library. It's the very first bridge you get that crosses the slough. Yeah. It's right now it's 3 wooden logs.
Oh, right.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just re-envisioned and claimed from floating away, what, 2 years ago? Yeah, so, and it allows Public Works to do work on that trail. What we is volunteer kind of, driven and things like that, so, yeah. So that's the one.
So,
I don't, oh, go ahead.
thank you. I'm comfortable with giving staff go ahead to start this plan. Get some engineered designs. Start to look for what kind of approvals that we need in order to put it in place. I mean, it's another great thing for our community, something I believe, our council would be happy leaving for the next council. And, I'm 100% into everything on this list to, put it forward so it can be in place and get started as soon as possible.
Councilor Royce.
It being a public provincial, don't we own that property?
Not that piece.
Not that piece, farther down.
Yeah, we own the one, yeah. So Councilor Lewis is thinking of the one that we bought from WFP. That would have started the Little Zeballos Trail just behind, the garbage can, so in behind the Telus building. Actually, there's a piece of property that we own there that originally we were going to move that to, and that was gonna be my suggestion as well, is just move that trail back. Don't engineer anything, don't get a new bridge, nothing. I mean, leave that there until it's cannot, and if they use at your own risk, like whatever. But also with instructions that there is a trailhead that you can make it across further down and work on that while this bridge comes to its end of life. Right? Because then we don't need engineer drawings, but that was just gonna be part of one of my points for discussion. We can move that sign. It doesn't need to start behind that. It's still coming from, alternatively, we could, on our property, push it back in behind the post office more and then kind of jut in. So there could be a partial like new trail built that was out at the water's edge. If you still wanted to use that entrance, but then make it out of the water's edge. So that was gonna be something that I wanted to talk about just for consideration, because that bridge is always, in my entire living here, has always been a pain in the butt. If we want to spend the money out, let's engineer it, let's get it done properly, but it seems like a lot of steps.
It would be interesting to walk through there, or try to walk through there to see how wet it is in behind there.
I can tell you where the water goes to, like it's obvious where the water goes to, right? So it would be trail build, but it's not, it's from here to Kirsten's house. It's but actually not even her cabin,
Yeah.
right? So that would be going out and then back though, so double that distance, right? Because it would have to come back on the other side of the water. I don't know, I think it would be interesting to maybe get like somebody like strategic in there to help us to kind of get a grasp on that, but just because we own that piece of property, right? Why not use it as an access? See how long, like where the, just from the, not from getting it surveyed or pinned or anything, but just from the maps, seeing where that is in relation to what we might want to do. I don't know. Councillor Copeland, I see your hand up.
That's because I forgot to, no, thanks, Mayor Coburn. I forgot what I was gonna say, but it's, who's the company that you mentioned for trails?
Strategic?
Strategic has an individual who only does trails. That's his primary job. I'm sure we all know who it is. He's working on one up at the disappearing river right now. His input would be superb. That's what he does for a living.
Yeah, using some local kind of knowledge people. I don't know. I
think that's the way to go versus getting another bridge put in or a bridge built or whatever. I think cost wise.
It's still gonna do all the other things. It's still gonna, we might have to go through a license of occupation depending on where that property is that we own.
Yeah,
You know, we're still gonna have to talk about archaeological oversight, and we're still in a riparian zone, all of those things, so it doesn't really, you know, minimize cost necessarily, but it might avoid that pain in the butt bridge, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
unless we're gonna get something like goes across the other part of the slough and into the, you know what I mean? You know, the other two bridges that we have, that's something that looks like that, that's like concreted in, that's, you know,
Kind of what I pictured.
yeah, it would have to be significant, right? So to do that in that floodplain area, I don't know what that would entail.
I think, making a bigger deal of it is good though, because I think it's kind of like in the fiber of Zeballos. And I think making it something more grandiose would be better. And spending some money on it, because it's not going. And it will provide the access to the trails. One of the trails that we've all decided are really important to us. I have no problem with looking at engineered designs for a real bridge. However, I think it will be around for many generations to come.
Okay, so engineer designs that include bridge. Maybe can we have a conversation about not including it as well? About what that would look like,
Sure.
just to get the information on maybe what that might look like, whether there was a bridge or not there. Keeping the same trailhead though with that, you know, that's, you know, I understand what you mean about that. You know, it's named the Little Estuary Trail, it's that, right? So if there were workarounds for bridges or no, what that would be. Where our property, you know, kind of is in behind, whether that's in behind the Telus or whether it's further this way. Those kinds of information I think would be good to have before we've figured out what the going through would be in the plan. I don't know what the recommendation is on that either.
I would suggest that council recommend staff research alternate access to the Little Zeballos Trail that does not involve a bridge.
And also cost pricing and analysis for what does, because we want to have both of those options in front of us, I think, before we make that decision. That's what I'm hearing anyways, that's what I'm. So engineered, you know, that as part of a work plan for future years, right? That we include the Little Zeballos Trail or Little Zeballos Trail Bridge. You know, talking about all the points that are in there, whether it's a bridge or not, how it could possibly be engineered with or without, you know, including our property prospects on that other side of the slough. That cover what everybody kind of is okay with. I do know it's, you know, it is a trail that we want to work on, and there are people back there I live right there, so I hear people on it all the time. There's people walking around, I'm like, what is that voice? Is that oh no, those are voices. Those are people. It's okay. It's not a bear in the bush.
So I've got staff research alternate access to the Little Zeballos Trail and research costs associated with both alternatives.
Yes, perfect. Yeah,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you for that. So that was a motion. I'll make it.
Second.
And to accept it. Other considerations or other things we want to do, knowing that these are work plans for future years. Nothing that's going to happen right away, but a path forward for possibly the next council. Oh, yeah. All in favor?
I,
I,
2 more days off.
Any opposed?
2 more days.
That's carried. Last we've got foreshore improvements. So that is Golden Gate to the municipal harbor. Tourism appeal, professional designs tied into the 501. I've got a check mark beside that because I think that makes sense. And also if it could be tied into the column or not cenotaph, if any of the works could be tied into that. Yeah, so any comments on this one? I know it was on the priority because of the kind of first view of people from Zeballos that are coming in from boats and lots of fishing and activity down there. We've got a lot with 501 already happening, so any way that this could be like putting the viewing platforms into our bridge build, right? Like, let's get some of this stuff done with that 501 remediation, right? Those were my comments that I had. Anybody else? I mean, I agree with what the way staff's laid it out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These have all been discussed priorities of ours. And a lot of them have been around for quite some time. So I'm happy to see them in writing on paper and possible path forward, things that we can consider. I do know also included in this was also, wasn't there a fish cleaning station that was included in this? I think at some point there was a new fish cleaning station that was also included in this.
I remember something.
I
like that.
do, I can't remember where exactly or what it was, but there was. And we've already spoken tonight about renewing paths and, you know, amping that up a bit, so. It's on the dock. I think it's on the dock, municipal wharf.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. The airplane dock conversations that we've had. Yeah, moving the seaplane,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
And about the dock itself being, having some benches, maybe
Mhm.
tables, maybe some covering, go to the sun, maybe some, that was kind of that public gathering spot, I think.
Mhm. And even market potential stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. Good one, I think. 7 months.
Wait. I don't know what people will put in there at this point, but it'd be interesting in the future. I mean, you know, Zeballos does really have the potential to grow. If what I can see from Vancouver Island, it does. It become more and more sought out.
Yeah.
So there is definitely potential.
There could be somebody that has a table there, and it could be some beading from this person, it could be artwork from this person, it could be that, you know, consignment type stuff, so that you're able to have one person handle the whole thing.
like a multi-access kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. Food trucks, we still need a food truck. Right, like, you know,
So at least we've got.
I mean, I know people already that do some baking for people when they come in, so just upload fish, maybe it's a baking, so, you know, or,
Yeah.
you know, there's lots of potential.
The late desserts.
So what I'm hearing is this is an event, this is something we still want to move on. This is still something we want to work on. This is not contained in our, you know, necessarily right now gonna happen, you know, but that these are things that we want to consider in the master plan, that we want to include in that master plan.
Yeah.
And move forward with.
Yeah.
Yes. And also any cemeteries that can work while other works are being done down there as improvements. Right? So is that a resolution?
No, thank you, Mayor. I think the foreshore improvements is such a large scope, that it's, really something that, I think we're gonna have to have designers involved in, because it's such a large area, as Councilor Jennings mentioned, it's got the potential of being something greater, being on the coast the way it is. So I don't think, in my opinion, that it's a, 10-minute discussion. I think this is going to be multiple discussions with conceptual designs and in-depth reviews of what we could harness that foreshore for.
So just knowing that it being included here in our, priority list is something that will be contained in that master plan and will live on beyond us.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah? Are we good with that? So far, folks?
It is kind of big and scary, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot,
multifaceted.
it's a lot, you can't, it's really hard to make decisions on when you're trying to like create this like huge scope. And then it's like, okay, so will that small implement that we're looking at fit into that huge scope, or is it just gonna get bulldozed over by what we actually need to do in the future, right?
Mhm.
So that's the hard part for me on that. I don't think that necessarily inhibits us from the Golden Gate Park and moving forward on some of that, laying down framework on the park itself. And there is a trail kind of that used to be coming through it that's almost disintegrated. And I think that we could focus on that part, because I don't see it changing. But as soon as you get, to where potentially the cenotaph is going to be, as soon as you get around that corner, then what's to come is questionable. There's drainage problems. There's, so I won't want to put too much past there, but I would support following through on the Golden Gate Park and kind of revitalizing it itself. And so I would put that forward, everybody, as a motion, that we concentrate on the park itself
And leave the,
and leave the rest for a better calculation of the master plan.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll put that forward.
that we're in favor of improvements on the Golden Gate Park itself. And its own parking issues and
Mhm.
all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so you put that motion forward. Okay. And that's clear enough, just, basic, revitalization,
Mhm.
operations kind of thing. Yeah? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want a question, to see if staff, council, anyways, you know what I mean. Is there any chance of that front foreshore area where the pathway is collapsing into the water? Is there any chance of any type of riprap or anything be allowed to be put there to stabilize the bank?
You mean on the corner in front of the bench?
Yeah, in that area.
Where it is.
Or on this yield side?
Feel like that is. Like, I want to say yes, but I feel like we need environmental
Yeah,
involved in that, and there'd be quite a big problem.
just curious.
More opinions on it. I need more opinions to really know how to tackle that job and what the costs are gonna be. What we need to do.
Councillor Copeland, I see your hand.
Thank you, Mayor Colburn. Yeah, I was down there the other day looking at it, and that path, it is fading away on the shoreline for the Golden Gate. But as soon as it passes the memorial for the workers, it should head back up to the road right then and there. And then all that eroded trail wouldn't be necessarily have to be dealt with. But if that path came up towards the road, in between where we're contemplating to put the two memorials, it would come up between the two of them. as opposed to following the coastline all the way along to the benches.
Oh, you're talking about moving it inland?
Well, just at the very end, when it gets to the Workers' Memorial,
Mm-hmm.
bring it up to the roadway. And then on the other side of it would be the Remembrance Day Memorial. So the path would actually veer between the two monuments and come back up into the road. Either that, you're gonna have foreshore incidents because it's fallen into the water and we're losing the path. So the only way to save the path is to bring it back up towards the roadway.
Can you come in and talk? Can you come in and have the conversation maybe then with like a map and a piece of paper? Cause I don't. Yeah,
Sure, I can.
cause I have questions, like, I don't know. So. When we were talking Cenotaph, that's further up towards. Where the old wharf used to be, correct? There's the memorial, the Workers' Memorial. There's a little park area there. And then you're talking about like where the big hydrangea is, or, okay. Thank you, because yes, please do.
You know where the Workers' Memorial is now?
Yeah,
You know the juniper bush beside it? The big bush that's right beside that.
sure,
I think he
it's a
means,
juniper,
yeah, like
amazing.
right there, instead of going beside there, so where the path goes and it kind of goes towards the benches behind all that stuff.
Yeah,
Eliminating that, you would just turn the path to the roadway right beside the Workers' Memorial. And then you would have the rest of the path going down, the other way to the side.
got you. Okay, thank you for that. I
Yeah, right,
appreciate
right.
that. Yeah, he's doing okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, as long as we're not putting us in a tap where it's gonna fall into. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yep. All considerations to moving forward. So with that, the motion was made and seconded?
Yep.
All in favor?
Right.
Any
Aye.
opposed? That is carried. I don't think I wanna put this on the. I wanted to put something else out there for council to consider. I'm just gonna say it and I'm gonna leave it. I'd really like to, if we're doing any improvements to the, to have a wrap done to the generator and the big box out there, because they're really not conducive to park improvements. I think if we could have them wrapped and put something on there, that would be amazing. Some kind of art or artistic, maybe that may be something that the SRD wants to consider as part of their tsunami, that it's just a wrap around there or something. I don't know. I'm putting it out there. I know they're needed infrastructure, but we're talking parks and beautification. I just wanted to put that out there so I didn't lose it in the ether, because I think that electrical box, and I mean, I appreciate that it's yellow, it's an emergency implement, but it's yellow.
Yeah.
So,
Something, yeah.
as part of future conversations, if we can make that not get lost. I just wanted to get it off my brain, because I've talked about it a couple times and it hasn't stuck really.
Yeah, the draft would be good.
Okay. That brings us, so that's past the estuary trail proposal, so that brings us, just staff has enough to. So, no, I'm just, we know that this is as time and weather and seasons and grants allow. But having some direction moving forward is good, so thank you for bringing this to us here. Hopefully our resident is able to join us the next time in our next iteration of this, when we get more information back. He would get an invite again.
Get to.
Perfect. All right, we've got UBC. That was a really good conversation, guys. That was awesome. UBCM ministerial meeting notes, speakers notes. So what we want, the staff has provided us with, the notes. They want additions to capture any issues or opportunities not included, deletions, excuse me, where it's not relevant or appropriate, and revisions to strengthen clarity. So that's what we're looking for with these. Is there any other things you wanted to highlight that you would need from us this evening?
No, thank you, Mayor. Just as Mayor Colburn and Councillor Copeland will be the voice of the ballot in these minister meetings. I thought it's prudent to have the rest of council provide input on what we'll be speaking about at these meetings.
Perfect. And then, of course, Councillor Copeland, the next step will be kind of getting a schedule of what of these speaking notes are more important to you that you could speak most or not passionately about in the meetings. And we'll do that as UBCM draws closer. We'll get kind of a script made up for ourselves and figure out which parts and pieces we want to take on. Some are staff, really relevant for staff. Some are really relevant for, you know, things that, you know, have been on for a while, which I maybe speak to. There may be parts that you are really passionate about that you wanted to speak to yourself during those meetings. So that will be the next step. This is to just make sure that these are in line with council's wishes. So topic 1 is the legislative changes in regional support with Premier Eby. So have you got a chance to read these? Are these all in line with the direction we wanted to go? Yep. I would make one note about an allowance for decentralizing Victoria. That'll just be something that I probably say in that meeting, that this would be a prime opportunity to, if someone wanted to work remotely, especially for that employee, provincial employee support, it would be a great thing. And also, I think that we need to talk about 501 in the concept that it aligns with the emergency response responsibilities, that we are undertaking this project that you said you had great interest in, and we still need you to be able to let your ministerial appointments know who's going to take care of that for us.
I would hesitate on that one.
Would you?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because it is a license of occupation, and signing that in the year that we renewed it, we did take on responsibility for that one. So our plea to the ministers to support us in remediating it did finally come through in getting grant funding to get a feasibility
study.
Yeah.
Okay, then can we let them know that happened? Done. As my parting remarks as we walk out the door. We'll be talking to you again. You know, I was thankful for the foreshore study dollars, and that will lead us to the next phase. That kind of thing. That's all I had. Anybody else? Captured it really well. Yeah, and thank you for the list as well on the back of all of the downloading, because that's super helpful.
If I've forgotten any there, please let me know.
You did have another list that was more extensive, but the reason that this list isn't, I think, is because there are things that have been checked off and dealt with. So I didn't know.
I did review that list, and this is just 30,000 foot level.
Oh, okay, this is amalgamated.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, given that we have 15 minutes with them.
Yeah. And I don't know how pretty you want to get in on any of these, but, this would be a great handout for him with like the map of Zeballos or something and the logo, I don't know, yeah, I know it's always fantastic. Whatever happens. I've never had a graphic but it might be good for a handout, right? With something that we already have that's super simple. Just a suggestion. Anybody else on that one? Okay, we've got parks. Was there anything missed on the parks one or added or irrelevant? Yeah, page 29 of 32.
Oh, that's the one.
Yep, go ahead.
The one bullet says at the same meeting was learned that there are only 2 full-time provincial employees responsible for rec sites.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true, but if we could even get the brushing done, that's a local contractor, so it's not something that they even have to be involved in. They just have to give the go-ahead for the local forest contractor to be able to go ahead and brush both sites so they're usable, so people can get into them.
So do you want to mention the letter that we wrote then? Is that what you're trying to get into that?
There was some conversation about that. So there's liability involved, obviously, and so BC Recreation and Parks does enter into agreements like that. But it still requires them, a due process to come out and review the site, for the remediation.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good to know going into this, right? Yeah, good. Yeah. Right.
Unless a society or municipality enters into an agreement with them to take over the site maintenance.
And that is not something that we are interested in, correct? Thank you. I'm just putting that out there. Did staff have other?
That's council direction. I mean, it's
Okay.
a service that we would provide, so that's a council direction.
Okay.
No.
And I also think there's only, basically they delisted Espinoza, so there's only resolution.
They delisted Espinoza.
Not part of it. Little Espinoza? I think.
Yeah. Little Espinoza,
They
Espinoza
changed it. It's
date.
on their website, but it's not part of their website.
Are you serious?
For a few reasons, yeah.
Why?
Conflict and stuff like that with, being, I think, a spiritual place for First Nation, stuff like that, so they didn't want to keep running that site. So they just basically,
Oh, that's are they removing the porta pot or the toilet and
They suggested that would remain there until deterioration.
they want to
I mean, there's validity to that, but also isn't that convenient as a cop out to not maintain that site? And I'm sorry, but that's what strikes me, is as they are getting rid of these rec sites, left, right, and I mean, that's super unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, that saddens me. Hopefully, though, there's a resurgence in some other possible way at that.
And I'm hoping that this discussion with them brings this to light, that, they're mandating increases to recreation throughout the province.
Yeah.
Yet they're delisting and not, maintaining.
Yeah.
The sites that they have.
Yeah.
So why are they pushing?
Yeah.
For recreation when they're not going to maintain what they were pushing for?
Yeah.
right.
And I actually have that in a report on my desk if anybody's interested in reading it.
For sure. I also think there's a this is not a just us either. This is not a, just us conversation. There's been a lot of conversations through lots of UBCMs and lots of ABICCs about rec sites being beyond private forest lands and those kinds of things. There's gates up. There's, so there's all these prohibitions from them doing this work. Ministry of Forests is a large ministry, and they just need to keep chopping it up because they can't handle what they're doing, it seems in some ways. So, yeah. Thank you for that. This is good information just for me to kind of, wrap my head around, and I would like to see that report before we go, just to kind of.
Yeah, sitting right on my desk.
Perfect. Awesome. Just more knowledge, more. And this is actually environment and parks, so they have kind of chopped forestry up, but it was a forestry site. You know what I mean?
So who would, if it's not parks,
Thank you.
then so it should belong to forestry then?
No, it is park because we're with that ministry.
No, but I mean, if they delisted it, whose is it now? It's forestry.
It's crown land.
Crown land.
Well, I mean, technically, all crown land is forestry land, but
Which doesn't necessarily mean you can't camp on it, it's just not.
Mhm.
And
Forestry was responsible then because they were correct forestry contractor.
I like the way your mind works hard. Okay, I know it's frustrating, but are we good with that? At least the information contained in it, and it's accurate, correct, and where we want to go with it? Yeah, all right, so, consistent maintenance of the FSR. I had a couple of questions on this one. How long have we been advocating for it? If you can look back, if somebody can look back and give me a roundabout, I would say over 14. Is that accurate?
Probably pretty close.
If somebody could just fact check that for me, just because I want to be able to say I have been on this council for 14 years and we've come every single year and asked for this, that sometimes that, is a little push. And then the other questions I had were, it has been the provincial standard that when industrial user is hauling, Ministry of Forest has been kind enough to supplement additional grading during works. I can't wrap my head around that.
In simple terms, the contractors are required to grade the road at least twice per month. Because it's an access to these communities.
They've added more.
They've added, at their own expense, they've added an additional grading.
Okay. Ministry of Forest has.
Yes.
Or the industrial user has.
No, Ministry of Forest is paying the
Perfect.
industrial user to grade one more time.
Okay, thank you for that. That's good to know as well. Gravel stockpiles. What kind of, I just wonder where the information comes from, like what?
Well, I got this all from Ian Bornheim.
Okay,
So I actually had a conversation with him.
amazing.
Yeah, and so as the local operation is grading over the year, he'll know like where he's got extra material and pushes it to the side of the road. Whereas a contractor coming in may not know where those little stockpiles are. Might not be a huge stockpile, but just enough to,
It's super interesting that everybody wants this done except for the engineer. Except for the engineers to say it can't be done. No, it can't be done. We can't give extra money for having it. No. Your suggestion about payment, nope, that doesn't work. I'd also like to add a point to this about capping. About road capping. You can't grade what you don't have on the road. And so I'd like to put a little blurb in there about, you know, supporting the road has been in great shape for the last little while, for the last few years, since the improvements were done and that partnership was had. However, your graders, whether they be one man or you know, or multiple people, can't grade what isn't there. So you need to include some capping money in those project dollars.
We'll have to be careful that we
I know,
don't confuse what we're asking for.
I know that, but I mean, even from a one maintenance, so we can, that's why I wanted to put that in with that gravel stockpile kind of comment, right? You know, it would help if we had some gravel stockpiles that we could get our grader to even use, because the capping it's gone on our road, you know, from the great projects that were done not too long ago. Right, just, I wanna, and so that'll be a way, it'll be part of our kind of interior script. I'd like to just pop that in there, because that's what's wrong with the road, is you can't grade what's not there, even though he's a professional, amazing grader that works on, that we're asking for, support him. We're trying to support him and support our road users. You help, right? Yeah. So no, I don't want to muddy waters, but I do want, yeah. Councillor Copeland?
Yeah, could you, Mayor Coburn, CAO through the mayor, can you amplify on why we should ask, be careful what we ask for? I don't have that sort of a history or historical background.
Thank you. So based on the subjects that we've introduced, we want to be careful that we don't introduce a different subject that they're not prepared for, because it could reflect on future meetings with those ministries if we blindside them with something they weren't expecting.
Can we add that to our speaking notes then? It's not a topic change. It's still talking about consistent grading maintenance. It's a grader issue.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So that if we could just add that piece in our speaking notes that we provide to them before, right? Then maybe that's a way to get around that. So we're not, and just to mention, I don't want to, this is what we're asking for the one guy, right? But we want to support him in whatever way possible. And that's part of him supporting that, you know, this is something we've noticed, but that's it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that you can work that in there. My hesitation was that we were going to divert from the single operator model to we need more money.
Well, I mean, as well. Always.
Then we should have asked for that.
We don't need a hand out. We need a hand up. Help us help your guy. Right? It's your employee, forestry. It's your guy that's got your contract. This is how much we care about you. Right? That kind of, you know, yeah. I say this with joking, and when we do the script, it won't be like that. But yeah, we can't, once we've picked a topic, we need to stick to that topic. Earmark that for next year for money. UBCM for next year. Capping included in projects.
Particularly the canyon.
The canyon and between 9K is still a 1-lane road, people. So
Yeah.
those are maybe issues for next year. Yes. Anything else on that anybody had? Any kind of?
Still,
Anything? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Mayor Coburn, we're still on the same subject, I'm assuming. Would a water truck help the road situation with the dust and settling the rocks?
Different conversation again. Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
Remind me though to write that down if you could, and remind me to talk to you about it. Yeah, because I will. I'm gonna write it down too. Brian, water, dust. I just, yeah, it comes up for me because, when Charmaine was here, we were talking about the piece behind Keno and, health outcomes. So we might have a little in there, maybe possibly with Island Health's support to maybe get some action on that. But again, different topic, I digress. Yeah, so I'll talk to you about it. Anything else on consistent maintenance? Consistent maintenance? Nah, okay, we're down to communications and then we're done, folks. So communications, improved maintenance communications for Ted Olenek being, yes, instrumental, always being a good point man. Let us know when you're doing things. Just let us know.
Yeah.
I like the last blurb about the BC One call. Thank you for that point in there. Anybody else have any additions or anything that was not in line with what we had discussed?
I think the most important point of this is to highlight safety of the community.
Yeah.
And so that I think should be
Okay.
the center point of the conversation is safety of our community. And that's why we need this and this and this.
Yep, for sure.
Because that I think is something that they will take very seriously doing this upon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true.
Mm-hmm. And I think also putting that in maybe on that last point as well, improve communications, support us supporting BC Hydro safety record as well, right? Like those kind, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple times in there for sure. How are we feeling, folks? We're good with all of those topics? Thank you, CEO, for putting those together. Really good, concise. Yeah, I don't have my agenda anymore. There it is. Is there anything else that you needed from us on that? Just, it was just to go through. Perfect. We're done.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we want to talk about it? All in favor? Any opposed? God's carried. Thanks all. Appreciate it. Really good meeting tonight.